Hi, everyone. Welcome to week 2 of Harlem Renaissance Literature. So, for this week, we are looking at poet County Cullen. We have for you a number of poems to read about County Cullen, and then also an essay, Cullen and the Racial Mountain by Major Jackson, which I've linked for you on Brightspace. You have a couple of lectures from me about the poet and his work, and then you have an optional video. I highly recommend watching it. It's from the Black Excellist on YouTube, 10 Things to Know About County Cullen. Essentially, this is a poet that many people haven't really heard of. People are probably more familiar with Langston Hughes, who you might have read in high school or even on your own. But Cullen really had a huge impact on the Harlem Renaissance, and he really played a role in shaping African American literature. His poetry was marked more by classical influences, and he has a refined literary style, but because of that style, he really challenged racial stereotypes, and he tried to affirm this idea of Black artistic excellence. And so, in part, because of this classical style and what he's trying to do, people haven't read him as much because he wasn't thought of as like cutting edge. He's writing in a much more typical poetic style for the period, as opposed to doing things that are more experimental or a little bit, different. But he has this debut collection called Color in 1925, and he did try to highlight the struggles that Black Americans faced, particularly with identity. He wanted to be a poet and not a Black poet, or at that point they would have called it a Negro poet. That's the term they would have used. You learned that last week. But he sort of, in that sense, is breaking away from tradition while kind of keeping in tradition. And so the criticism that you're looking at of Cullen and the Racial Mountain is really examining this idea of engaging with traditional literary forms and arguing that his mastery of poetry is providing, or possibly not providing, some groundwork for future intellectuals and future artists and future poets and authors. So I think it'll be a very interesting conversation, and I hope you enjoy reading his poetry. We're going to be looking at things like She of the Dancing Feet Sings, and To a Brown Girl and To a Brown Boy, and we really see him, I think, trying to wrestle with very big themes and important ideas, and things like gender and religion and certainly race and identity and all those things. So for your homework, you have the poems and the essay to read, and then you'll have a journal assignment. And I really look forward to reading your work and hearing your thoughts. Thanks, everyone.